beast! Ah!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. I am Megs.
I'm Elizabeth.
And this week we watched 2012's Stolen, starring Nicolas Cage and Josh Lucas. We open, it's 4 a.m., it's New Orleans. A drunk is walking down the street singing, and he stops to piss against a building. He looks down, and there's a boot that belongs to an FBI agent. He grabs the guy and pulls him inside. Inside the building, the feds are in a stakeout. They turn on their listening devices, but a CCR song comes over, and one of the agents is convinced that who they're waiting for is whoever is playing the music. Outside in a van, Will, who's played by Cage, Riley, who is played by Malin Ackerman, and Vincent, who's played by Josh Lucas, are waiting for the song to end before they go to work, and Will gets a phone call from his daughter. The call ends, and their guy, Hoyt, who's played by MC Gainey, has accessed and turned off the security of the bank that they're about to rob. And so the team goes to work. While Will and Vincent go into a toy store and break through the wall to access the bank with the vault, Riley picks up Hoyt and the FBI gets mobilized. As Will and Vincent drill, the feds get into position and move in as the lock on the vault opens. But the feds are actually in the wrong place, and then they run to the toy store, but Will and Vincent are able to get the $10 million that they needed from the vault and make it out a different way into an alley. There's an old man, he's dumping trash from his car into the dumpster, and Vincent punches him in the face. He goes to shoot him because he's seen their faces. Will stops to help the man and keeps Vince from shooting him, which is wasting precious minutes. They scuffle over the gun, and Will ends up shooting Vincent in the leg. Will helps him to the van and then goes back for the bag of money, but the others in the van take off. Will is running after them when the cops arrive. He beats the shit out of two of the cops and steals their cop car. There's a chase through a winding parking garage. Will is able to get out of the garage and drives into an abandoned building that houses homeless people, and the cops surround him. He knows he's caught and surrenders, but he doesn't give them the money. Next, we see Will being released from jail. It's been 8 years. He takes a Greyhound bus, and when he arrives at his destination back in New Orleans, the FBI agents Harlan and Fletcher are waiting for him. They want to talk. The feds think that he's going to go and get the money, but Will says he's done with all of that. He doesn't have the money. They tell Will that Vincent is dead. He owed money to the wrong people and ended up dying from it. They drop him off at his ex-wife's house so that he can see his daughter. Fletcher accuses Harlan of liking Will, but Harlan says he just admires him. Will's ex isn't home, but his daughter Allison is. He asks if they can talk. They go to a local cafe, and he gives her a stuffed bear that he bought at the bus station. He tries to explain that he was a bad man, and he's not making excuses. All of that's behind him now. She doesn't seem to buy it and says she has to leave, but she takes the bear. He follows her out and tries to talk to her more, but she hails a cab and throws the bear back at him and leaves. Riley is now a bartender in a cop bar. She says she works there to keep from getting back to bad behavior. Her and Will talk about his kid and not coming to visit. She tells Will that Vince went dark and it got him killed. Will gets a call and Riley heads to the back of the bar. On the phone, it's actually Vincent. He's been running from loan sharks and the feds all these years. Will ruined his life and wants his cut of the money. Will tells him that he burned the money before he surrendered, but Vincent doesn't believe him. A woman's voice is heard in the background. It's Allison. She's a passenger in Vincent's cab, the same one that she hailed outside of the cafe to go to her therapist's office. He's going to keep Allison until he gets his money and hangs up. Vincent pulls into a building and pulls out a syringe to drug her. He's locked all the doors and gets out to get to her in the back, and we see he ended up losing his leg. He drugs her. Will's phone rings again. He tells Vincent he can get the money, but it's in Tuscaloosa. Vincent tells him he has 12 hours. He's tracking the phone. If he misses one call, Allison dies. Vincent hangs up. He sprays the inside of the trunk of his cab with foam insulation. Will grabs a mask from a street vendor. The feds are tracking him down the street, but he's able to lose the agents, and as he's running to the train station, he stops and buys a burner phone. He runs into the Tuscaloosa train and leaves the phone in the overhead compartment that Vincent gave him. after he has all the calls forwarded to the burner that he bought and then gets off the train. Allison now wakes up inside of the insulated trunk. Will goes to the FBI and tries to tell Agent Harlan everything. He burned the money just before he was arrested because he knew he'd get less time without it. Harlan doesn't believe it. He thinks Will is telling a story to get time to find the money and disappear. Will insists that Vincent is alive, but Harlan shows Will the file of his dead body and has Fletcher escort him out. In the elevator, Will attacks Fletcher and the other Fed that's in there and takes Fletcher's ID badge. Will goes back into the office that he just left and looks at Vincent's file. Then he gets Hoyt's address and he leaves. He makes it to the street right as the building's alarms start to go off. Back in the cab, Allison is trying to figure out how to signal for help. She's a really smart kid. She fucks with one of the taillights, and then when a tourist gets in the back of the car, she digs through the back seat to try to get his attention. But the tourist says something that offends Vincent, so he stops the cab, pulls the guy out, and beats the crap out of him. As Vincent drives off, the tourist's phone starts to buzz, and Allison tries to reach through the small hole that she's made in the seat to reach it. And then we flash back to the FBI. Harlan is watching the camera footage of Will in the office and sends agents to Hoyt's place. Will breaks into Hoyt's place and holds his own gun on him. He asks him where Vincent is. Hoyt says that he's dead. Will threatens to shoot him in the face and Hoyt talks. They all just want their share. He tells Will that Vince is driving around with Allison. He didn't agree to that part. He tells Will that Vince blames him for losing his leg. Right then, the feds show up and Hoyt tries to take the gun. He and Will fight as the feds make their way in. Hoyt opens the front door and smiles and starts to raise his shotgun, and Harlan shoots him in the chest. Will runs and gets hit by a cab with the same company as the one that Vincent works for. He pulls his gun and jumps into the front seat to jack the car. Back in Vincent's cab, Allison has managed to get a hold of the phone through the hole in the seat, but she's not able to pull it back into the trunk where she is. But she is able to dial 911. Unfortunately, the phone slides completely off the seat to the floor before she can press send. Just as that happens, a motorcycle cop has pulled Vincent over for the brake light being out, and ends up giving him a warning. When the cop leaves and turns to go back to his bike, he hears the banging coming from the trunk and makes Vincent get out of the car to come and open it. Right as Vincent is about to pop the lid, he turns around and shoots the cop dead, but Allison has her moment, and she jumps out of the trunk and runs off. Vince gets back in the car and takes off after her, but there's a chain link fence and then a gate between her and the main street. It's also Fat Tuesday and no one can hear her. Vincent reaches her and drugs her again and then puts her back in the trunk. In the cab that Will stole, he asks about the car's GPS. The cabbie says they can track all of the cars. Will makes this cabbie call to dispatch to ask about Vincent. He tells him he saw Vincent steal money. He gives him the location. He'll go and take care of it. Dispatch gives him the info. Will takes off driving in that direction. The feds are now searching Hoyt's place and they find Allison's address on a scrap of paper. Will has arrived at the area of Vincent's cab. He's climbing the cars and searching for the car with the right medallion number. When he finds it, he pulls the driver from the car at gunpoint and asks if it's his car. The cabbie says it is, but he looks at the jewel number on the top and he says that's not his number. It was covered up by a sticker with a different number on it. Will makes him open the trunk and there's nothing in there but a GPS device, and the guy said it doesn't belong to him. The feds have caught up with Will and arrest him for accessing their files. In the car, the burner phone he bought rings and he tells them he needs to answer it, but they aren't having it. He dislocates his thumb and beats up the driver, grabs the phone, and runs the car into a barrier, causing a multi-car crash involving parade floats. Will stumbles out from the upturned sedan and answers the phone. He tells Vincent he doesn't have the money. Vincent tells him that his daughter is dead, but Will screams, "Please don't kill her." Vince finally believes that he doesn't have the money, but Will says he can get it by going back to bad. Will calls Riley. He's speaking Swedish for some reason as a code to meet him somewhere. They meet up. Will tells Riley about Vincent being alive and having his kid, and about the gold bars from the same vault that they robbed at the beginning of the movie. Riley tries to talk him out of it, but Will is frantic. Vincent will kill his daughter, so she agrees to help. The feds have gone to the cab company and are asking to see the photo of the license for one of the drivers. It's the one that the cabbie Will carjacked called about. Sure enough, it's Vincent, just like Will has told them all along. Riley and Will gear up with everything they'll need to get into the vault. They have to carry everything 6 blocks to the bank through some underground tunnels. This time they're going in just through the floor. The feds know he needs to rob a bank, but not which one he'll choose. Will makes it through the floor and melts several of the gold bars into a pool of water below. Eventually, the vault gets hot enough to set off the fire alarm, and the feds are on the move. Riley tells him that they need to go, but he's trying to get as much gold as he possibly can. At the bank, the manager opens the vault right as Will shuts off the torch, and they haul ass out of there back the way that they came. They make it out, but the truck they're in gets made really, really quickly. Riley and Will are on the way to the ferry. Harlan says not to take them until they take the ferry back to Louisiana. When the ferry arrives and the truck is pulled over, it's just Riley in the cab, and she's got a dummy that has a cigarette hanging from its mouth in the passenger seat. She tells them Happy Fat Tuesday. Will is driving a different car to meet Vincent. Vince calls Will. Will says he has the money, but he wants to speak to Allison. Vince lets her speak briefly. She tells Will that he hasn't hurt her, but he does scare her. Vincent takes the phone back and says to meet at the fairgrounds. The feds try to figure out where they'll meet. Will arrives, he gives Vince the money and demands his daughter. Vince wants to say his piece about Will betraying him over the old man he punched 8 years ago and then sets the cab on fire with Allison inside of it. Will and Vince fight while Will tries to get to Allison. The best he can do is fight Vince off and steal the car and drive it into the lake. He climbs out while Allison is frantically trying to escape the trunk with the water rising. Vincent is back on his feet and in the water beating up Will. Will kicks his fake leg to get Vince off of him. Once he gets him off, he grabs a pipe from the dock and pries the trunk open and pulls Allison out. Then he stabs Vincent with a pipe and shoves him into the trunk, and then shoves the whole car further into the water. Back on land, Alice notices Will is bleeding badly, and she starts to scream for help as the FBI choppers arrive, and they fly Will and Allison out. She's very worried her dad will go back to jail, but Harlan says he's convinced that Vincent stole that gold. Sometime later, Riley and Allison are driving through a cemetery and then stop at a rundown shack near the Gulf. Will finds a chunk of gold in the bed of the truck. The feds are listening. Will says he'll throw it in the water, and the feds don't want him to do it. He almost doesn't, but then Riley convinces him to. The feds watch him throw it and decide that since he doesn't have anything anymore, they can just go back to their lives and stop tracking him. Will, Riley, and Allison walk back towards the truck, and the camera pans to the table they were just sitting at, and there's a 10-pound lump of gold sitting where a decorative ceramic pine cone was just moments before, which is what he threw into the water. And the credits roll. The end. Elizabeth, what did you think about this movie?
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either.
My very first note I have written here says, bet they're not in the same place. Because the cops are all, the FBI is all going to swarm in and stop this bank robbery. And I'm like, I bet they're not even at the same bank.
Well, I mean, that's the first step in any heist movie, right?
Yeah, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Right. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Misdirection. That's step 2. It's always step 2.
It takes, so the whole opening sequence takes far too long.
Agreed.
Where the FBI is setting up and they're waiting for Nick Cage to show, and they're waiting for them to break into the vault, and they break into the vault, and then they're running away, and then he shoots Josh Lucas in the leg, and I wrote a note, shoot Josh Lucas more, because Josh Lucas is fucking terrible in this film.
He is.
So the whole opening sequence, it takes 25-30 minutes. It takes way too fucking long for an hour and a half long film.
It really does. I actually paused the movie at one point through it, and I was like, how long has it been? And it had been 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I thought the direction was really good. It has Mark Valley as FBI agent Fitz. What's his name?
Harland?
No,
or
the
Fletcher.
Other one. Fletcher. Mark Valley plays Fletcher, and I like Mark Valley a great deal. He's a total, hey, it's that guy. There's a scene where Nick Cage is running, and he runs like an old man, which he is.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Lucas is bad. I think I mentioned that already. Nick Cage's eyeliner is also bad.
Also very bad, yeah. When he's in the scene in the cafe with his daughter.
Yes.
It's like his whole face is washed out, except his eyes. And it's the only thing that you can see is like this like pale mask of like human flesh
Yeah.
with 2 blue orbs sticking out of it because he's got eyeliner on to enhance them.
Yep.
And it doesn't work.
I do like how once he realizes he has to rob another bank, I do like how he goes after the gold bricks. That's really smart.
I actually thought that the way that he did it was really clever. And like they made a point of having a line where like this is the plan that he's doing, and like Riley's asking him about it. He's like, I've been thinking about this for 8 years.
Yeah.
Cause like they saw the gold when they first went in, and Vincent wanted to take some of it. And he was like, listen, buddy.
It weighs every brick weighs 27 pounds.
Yeah. If you want to try to carry some of them, fine. Also, like it's a little bit disappointing because Josh Lucas is one of my favorite Hey It's That guys.
He's so bad in this.
He's so fucking bad in this. Oh, I'm disappointed. I was disappointed.
I really like the interplay between the 2 FBI agents, between Fletcher and Harbor. What's his name? I know you just told me. Harland.
Harland and Fletcher, yeah.
Harland. I like the interplay between Harland and Fletcher. I really like the scene on the boat at the end where like Fletcher's like, I hope he keeps it. I hope he keeps it. And Harland's like, toss it.
Yeah.
And nobody gets to be happy coming out of that interaction because he did keep it, but he also threw some things so they think that they're done with him.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's a release of some sort because him and Riley now have money.
Yes.
Some amount. And Harlan and Fletcher no longer have to keep pursuing him.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess there is a bit of a release there, but there's no real resolution to it.
This movie is full of Hey It's That guys.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the guy who played Harlan?
Hang on. Because I've seen him in, man, like 12 million different things.
Yeah.
Hang on.
MC Gainey is a Hey It's That guy. Mark Valley is a Hey It's That guy. Really enjoyed the performance by the girl that played Allison.
Her name is Sammy Gale. And you're thinking of Danny Houston.
Danny Houston.
Yeah. I love MC Gainey.
Yeah.
I love him immensely. I'm very happy that we got to see him. Yeah, I mean this movie is watchable, I would say. There's not really like I didn't make a whole lot of notes about this other than it's nice to see Malin Ackerman again. Because I feel like I haven't seen her in anything in a long time, and that's usually like comedy movies. It's nice to see her do something dramatic. Overall, I wasn't impressed with this movie, and I wasn't overly disappointed by it either.
No, I think this and Trespass, which we watched last week, were both watchable films, but neither of them are good.
No. And let's try not I was trying so hard not to say Trespass because like I could just continue to talk about how bad that movie is. I mean, it's not Stolen is not terrible. It's not great. I feel like there's a lot of shit missing. Like there's a point at the beginning where the reason Vincent wants to take out the old guy that's cleaning out his car is because he doesn't want to go back to prison. So like they've all been to jail before, but we don't know why or how or when. I'm assuming that they're all just like career criminals, but we don't really have any backstory on any of them. I also think that while it's not necessarily incorrect that what happened to Vincent's character would happen to someone who was on the run for 8 years, I don't feel like he would have spent, I don't know, like he's missing a damn leg. Like he drives a cab, like he doesn't have money, but he comes up with this really elaborate kidnapping scheme that involves like really expensive high class like tranquilizers.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie is not very well written. It is for the most part pretty well acted, I would say.
Yes.
I would have liked to see more of Louisiana. I would like to see more of New Orleans be a part of the movie rather than just having the Fat Tuesday parade being a background plot piece.
Yep.
Although it was kind of cool to see the big car crash that involved all the floats. That was all right.
So what would we give this movie overall?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was watchable. I feel like there wasn't anything to really wow me, so I don't know. I feel like I could go, C minus, D plus, something like that.
Let's give it a D+.
Okay, that works for me.
What do we rate the caginess of it?
I mean, this is just another one of his very clearly pedestrian roles. He doesn't depart from, being a regular everyman sort of character. There was nothing special about his performance that really, was marked for me or anything like that. So I would say probably a C.
Yeah, I could live with a C.
Yeah.
It did have a whole 18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is a whole 9% more than Trespass had.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy.
But yeah, that's it. That's 2012's Stolen. It's watchable, listener. It's watchable. If you like what we're doing, though, and you want to follow along, we are on socials on Instagram at Not the Beast Pod. You can also find us on patreon.com/notthebees. If you want to head over there and support us monetarily, you would also get access to episodes early. You'd have access to our Discord and all that stuff. So feel free to check us out. But I think that's going to be that for us this week. I've been Megs.
I've been Elizabeth.
And we will see you next time, kids.